Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Diaspora Dad. I have in the studio Cynthia Eguzua, an awesome person, business owner, a mother, a wife. Cynthia, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. This is beautiful. A great job.
Thank you very much. All right. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you love, what you do.
Okay. Cynthia is what like you introduced me. I'm an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
I like to call myself, or I like to say my business is kind of service oriented.
Yes.
I have a business called Fimbus Group where I mentor and coach on project management, Scrum Master. I have a nonprofit dedicated to providing companionship, task management for the elderly. And I have another business called Fimbus Academy where I offer tutorial services to kids.
Awesome. Those all sound great. All right. I do know you personally. I know you're always talking on behalf of women.
Hmm.
You're a strong advocate of women.
Yes.
So tell us about that. What does it mean to be either, I don't want to say feminist, but what does it mean to be an advocate for women in today's world?
Advocating for women is actually being a feminist.
Okay.
So I'm proud to say I am a feminist.
Okay.
I advocate for every woman, my mother, my sister, my female friends, just anyone that's a female. Advocate for you.
Mhm.
However, feminism has been taken in a wrong context in the past couple of years. It's now become an agenda, I believe, towards being feminine, towards being sweet, and towards being kind, to now more masculine. I can do all by myself. So
Mhm.
that's not what I'm advocating for. I'm advocating for the feminine, soft lady, the lady who can make a difference, the
Okay.
lady who can change an empire, the lady who can raise future kings and queens. That's what I'm advocating for.
Oh, wow. It's very powerful.
Thank you.
Okay. So, what challenges are women facing, both here in America and even back home in Nigeria? Because, this is the diaspora world.
Yeah.
So, what challenges are women facing now?
As I've gotten older, I think the word strong woman, I think it's actually a problem. In the past or growing up, when I hear the term strong woman, first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, I'm strong, it's a wonderful thing, I can do this, I can do that. But as I've gotten older, it just means you should take on all this burden. You should take on all this workload. You should take on everything and just be strong, don't have emotions, fight through it all. I don't think that is right. So I think that is one of the struggles that we're facing as women across the globe, Nigeria, America,
Mhm.
is we are being told that we should be strong, and it's frowned upon if at any point you feel you show some kind of weakness or emotions. A big example is talking about even healthcare.
Yes.
Lately, it's been brought up that Black women have been known to suffer through, childbirth and just anything that's related to Black women's health because they feel like we're strong, and it's not just health. I feel like even our men
Yes.
expect us to be strong, and
Yes.
so I feel like that whole strong term, we need to revisit what a strong woman is and see a strong woman as, like I always say, raising kings, raising queens, being a support system for her husband. But I don't want to be strong.
Okay.
I want to be his help.
Yes.
I don't want to be strong. I'm tired of being strong.
Wow. I see. Interesting. Okay. So, speaking of being strong, do you think that our culture in Nigeria or in Africa supports strong women, or do we just tolerate them?
I think in Africa, our culture actually supports and promotes strong women.
Okay.
Um, like when we talk about when people even talk about their mothers on Mother's Day, you would see captions that read like, "When my father was not around, my mom raised me. My mom toiled us. My mom worked for money until night. My mom," and everyone praises that. Or when you talk about your mom, you talk about your mom being just this lady. Nobody really talks about their mom as soft. They talk about their mom as strong, strong, strong. And even when you look at like art, for example, of African women, you will see art with the woman carrying stuff on her head, holding three bags, and still backing the baby in front and one at the back.
Yeah.
So it's just the culture just promotes being a strong woman to the point again of where I feel like even we don't even know what it feels like to be soft. That when you're crying, you have to go hide in a corner and cry and come back like it's okay.
Wow.
And it's not right, but I just feel like it's not fair even to our men. And I'm going to push this to you.
Hmm.
Growing up in whether in Nigeria or here, when you see a strong woman, what do you feel?
Well, a strong woman, on one hand, I like a strong woman because I feel like when the chips are scattered, she can be reliable.
Mhm.
But on the flip side, like you said, you're tired of being strong. um I can understand that because sometimes you have a lot going on already for you, plus you have many children, so you have a lot going on, so it's good for sometimes the man to lead and be that strength. That's how I see it.
Do you think maybe like you and other men, not just you, probably are confusing the word strong with supportive? Maybe what y'all are actually looking for are
Yes.
supportive women,
Yes.
not necessarily strong women.
Yes. You might be right. I would choose supportive over strong
Mhm.
because sometimes, if someone is too strong, you can butt heads, So I probably will go with supportive.
Yeah. And honestly, that's just for me, I feel like feminism should be around that a woman who is supportive,
Mhm.
not a woman who is strong. When we are strong, it's not because we want to.
Mhm.
It's because that is what society expects of us. But if you really ask women, I don't think any of us really want to be that strong.
Okay.
Now, if we don't have a choice, we will be, but it's not something that should be our MO. That's
Oh,
the point.
okay. So what do you think women want then if they don't want to be strong? Like what do they want to do?
That's a wonderful question. You don't be great to ask me. If I had to sleep and have a dream about what I want to do, I want to be a wife to my
Okay.
husband.
Okay.
I want to support. I want him to lead. I want him to be the king, the lion in the jungle that I know that he's capable of being. I want to just sit on the throne. Like I want him to stand and lead. And I want to sit down, just be like, yes, that's my husband. I don't want to be the one to stand when he's standing. I want to sit down and let him lead. And let me just and then when he's done talking, he can look at me and be like, what do you think to get my approval? And then I go, yes, I think you've done perfect. That is what in an ideal world
Right.
I
Right.
want to do. So he's leading in every aspect, not certain aspect. I want
Yes.
him to lead. And what I am there for
Mhm.
is I'm sitting down for to give him that confirmation, to give him that approval, to give him that support, or maybe in areas where he might be, oh, Cynthia, I can't step in here. What do you? And then at that point, I would step in. But again, my husband has led,
Mhm.
and then I'm following. So that is what I would like. Even when it comes to raising kids as well,
Mhm.
I want to know my role as a
Yes.
mom, but I also would like for my partner to lead, and then let me come in and be like, your dad was right. You were wrong here, and this is where I want to. I don't want to butt heads. So that's my ideal world. That's what I think most women want.
Okay. I think that's fair enough. I do know your husband, he's an odogu, and he's a great leader. Um in this modern times, right? Partnerships. Like
Mhm.
how would you define like partnerships?
You
Like
mean
what
in terms
is
of a
in a
relationship?
marriage? Yeah.
Um, Partnership is knowing your partner's strength
Mhm.
and allowing them to take lead,
Mhm.
submitting to that strength that that partner has, and knowing when to pull back.
Okay.
I believe that at that point, it is not about I do 80% more or whatever. I believe it's more about identifying that I need you to this is your weakness. I'm gonna step in for you. This is your strength. I need to amplify it and let's work together as a team. That's what I think partnership is.
Okay.
Um, do I believe that there's anything like 50-50 partnership? No, because I might be struggling at this moment and he might need to step in 100%. And vice versa, it could be the other way around. But I do believe that partnership is really just identifying someone's strength and weakness, helping them heal where they need healing if you
Mhm.
can, again, because you don't want to take on someone's burden,
Yes.
but also knowing that this person has this strength and submitting to that person's strength regardless of male or female.
Okay. So why is it difficult for a lot of, I want to say for a lot, but some women to allow the man to lead?
So, to be honest with you, I feel like it's also the society,
Mhm.
where the society has, again, the term strong woman.
Mhm.
You already call me a strong woman. So what do you expect?
Mhm.
You have put me on that pedestal that
Mhm.
I'm a strong woman. You have encouraged me to be tough. You've encouraged me to be masculine. You've encouraged me to fight and defend myself every second that I have, not even allowing my husband to fight for me anymore.
Mhm.
You're basically saying, yes, you speak up, fight for yourself. So when the society has pushed that on me, I start to see it as that is what is expected of me. That's what women start to see. Is I have to defend myself. And so women being strong and not allowing their husbands to lead, unfortunately, I'm going to put it back on the society itself, but also to I'm going to also put it back on the men, because
Yes.
I feel like men have also gotten comfortable with, I don't have to take this on by myself. If she can step in and lift some of this burden off me, then let her go ahead and do it. Forgetting that you're trading in something. If you're letting me take off your load, you're trading in something, because at some point, I'm not going to need you anymore. So I believe that if a man wants to lead,
Mhm.
it's his home.
Mhm.
He should step up and stop expecting the woman to say, I'm going to let you lead. I will let you lead if you show me that you can lead. But I'm not just going to let you lead and put myself and my kids in danger. So, to be honest with you, it comes back down on the man, because regardless of what society says, society is society. Your home is your home.
Right.
So you have to be able to say, I want to lead, start leading, and watch your wife follow.
Okay. I think that's well said. The husband is a leader, the wife is a follower. Some people might look at that and say those ideas are outdated.
Okay.
So, would you agree with that? And are there other ideas about wives today that are kind of outdated?
I do not agree that it's outdated. The reason why I don't, to be honest with you, is because if it was back in the days, I don't even think my husband would probably let me sit here with you. If it was in the world of back in the days, you would probably not be able to sit with another man and have a conversation like this without your husband being there. So that I don't want to use the word freedom, but that's me being able to be by myself, I don't think is an outdated way of doing things. What I feel like is outdated is we feeling like a man should maybe have multiple wives. That to me is what I feel like is outdated. Have multiple wives, or have multiple girlfriends, and that is the norm. And some people take it on now to become, that is a man's culture. That's not a man's culture. Or that is a man's it's in his DNA. That's not in a man's DNA. Now that is primitive. That needs to go out the door. But me submitting to my man, if he's submitting to me, I don't think is outdated. I feel like that is the order of life. Not just the order of life, that is what creates a peaceful home. What we need to focus on is what is breaking our homes. Weak men, unfortunately, sorry, women that are too strong, and this whole notion of it is in a man's DNA to cheat, because that again is making men feel like I can do what I want and she has to be strong to take it on. So I think we should prioritize what we don't want. Stop encouraging foolishness and instead encourage partnerships.
How would you define a weak man?
You're gonna put me on the spot. So you want men to chase me? Ah, so just to make it clear, I'm not saying men are weak. Oh, that's not what I'm saying. So, guys, I have 4 boys. I'm not trying to call anybody weak. But honestly, a man who is lazy is a weak man. A man who just wants to lay back and feel like she got it. Like my wife can handle it. She works, she can handle it. Oh, she knows how to fix the tire, she can handle it. She knows how to feel like feeling comfortable that your wife can handle all of this, and then you refuse to lead or lift your weight. I don't feel like that man is, I don't want to even say strong man. I just don't feel like that man has leadership qualities. A leader, yes, you want to let people do stuff based on their strengths, but you also want to be able to know when to step up and lead by example. And I'm sorry, I'm going to use a workforce analogy here. If I was working in a company and I'm the director of that company, my role is to make sure that I identify everyone's strength, know where to place people based on their strengths.
Hmm.
And that is the same thing with a leader. A leader should know that, okay, maybe this is my wife's strength and I'll let her do what she needs to do. But it doesn't mean that the director of the company does not oversee what he needs to oversee. He oversees compliance, he oversees security, he oversees safety, he oversees budgeting. There's so much that he still oversees. So why are our men able to lead in the workplace? Why do they feel like they can come to work and say, I'm the director, I'm the CEO, and get mad when a woman gets that position? But at home, they want to lay back, read newspapers, and then let the wife take on the other stuff. So why don't you continue your leadership that you were doing at work? Why don't you continue it when you come home? And let the same way that your subordinates at work respect you, let us as women to give you that same respect or even more, as opposed to coming home and just feeling like my wife has it. She's running around with the kids and you're just there relaxed. That is not how, you don't do that at work. So why do that at home? So
Okay.
that again is a lazy.
All right. Well said. Okay. So going with that, your analogy or your example, a husband comes back home, just wants to unwind, doesn't want to do the dishes, do any of those chores. For those people that have that situation, how would they confront the husband, right? Like you have to kind of choose your battles.
Yeah.
So for you, one, how would they confront the husband? And two, how do you decide which battles are worth fighting?
So let me start off with the battles to fight, because that will kind of lead into how to confront him. Choosing your battles, actually, I learned that quite late, which I feel like if I had known, it would have probably saved my marriage in so many ways. Like, I mean, the struggles. And so for women out there that are still maybe just engaged or just getting married, if there's any one thing that you really want to look into about how to sustain your marriage is how to pick your battles, because battles will come. And a lot of times we're so focused on things like how to be sexy, how to be beautiful, forgetting that what about if you don't know how to fight those? You can't fight the battle in your lingerie. You have to be ready to face the battle, but also what battle are you facing? So how do I pick my battles now is I've kind of sat down and I thought about what is important to me, what is important to our household, what is important for my kids to see. And sometimes I just let it go. I would revisit it another day. It doesn't mean the battle has to be fought at that time. It's still a battle. It just means that I will come back to the battle. It doesn't mean that the battle has to be today. Another analogy I'm going to use is when you look at the Bible, Moses and Pharaoh and all of that, there were times that God could have decided, I want to strike Pharaoh down right now because he's not listening to Moses. But there was always a back and forth. Moses will go and come back and give a message and whatever and go and come back. It's just negotiations sometimes, discussions back and forth. It doesn't have to end there and then. As women, we want it now, 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 which again can be some of the issues that we as women carry on is we want our now, now. And I've just learned that with men, there is no now, now. You probably need to go, let him sleep on it, then you probably even talk to his homeboys on it, and then you come back. It sounds very like I gotta wait on him, on his time. But unfortunately, men are not, they don't think as fast as we do. So for me, picking my battle is knowing when to just go and come back. It doesn't mean I've lost that battle. It just means going and coming back. How will I confront him? Um, I would not confront him when I'm heated, because I've also noticed that when I confront when heated as women, our tongue is our problem. So don't confront when I'm angry. When I'm relaxed, I'll come back and say what I want to say. And if he starts, because now this is his time to go back and forth, like I said, I'll go back and come back. It's easier said than done, but honestly, it works.
Okay. Like I said, I know you personally, I know your husband personally. Um, how has growing up in Nigeria or coming from that culture helped you to come to that conclusion as to how to handle maybe issues or disagreements with your husband, as well as women like you too? Like what role has your culture played in that?
For a while, I blamed my culture for the issues in my marriage.
Hmm.
One, because I felt like my culture just raised women be strong
Hmm.
and take on everything. Your marriage must not fail. If your marriage fails, it's on you, and you're just supposed to be there for your husband. There and in all our teachings, we're not really taught ways to de-escalate issues. We're not even taught ways to just be supportive. We're taught more to just be a figurehead. That's what I want to use. And to be honest with you, I don't even think men like that, because men just see you as, I guess, the strong woman is, you're just supposed to be strong to take whatever. So I blamed culture, and culture also does not really tell us what marriage is. Culture tells us the part about marriage that simply just tells you will leave your mom and dad and go to your husband. And you will continue that slavery from your mom and dad's house into your husband's house. That's what marriage tells us. So my culture, I feel like, did not mold me to become a wife. My culture molded me to become a servant. Same thing I feel like for my husbands as well, is the culture molds our men to just be not even leaders. Weak men is what I call what the culture has done. And unfortunately, African culture is supposed to be strong and beautiful, but I feel like we're missing that part because we haven't. Everyone is too scared to really touch on how our culture has affected marriages in the long run. Because our mothers have maybe kept quiet. However, in a positive light, my culture has allowed me to also be persistent in making my marriage work, has allowed me to be consistent, has allowed me to respect my husband, has allowed me to identify what are the goals that I have for myself and my home. Because if I didn't have my culture, I'm sure the first day he probably said something and I walked out the door. So I think my culture has allowed me to eventually reap the fruits of what I'm reaping right now. That I think other cultures would have just been like, you will not let somebody talk to you that way and just all of that stuff. So in the long run, I do feel like if I had to raise my kids, I would use the African culture. I would just probably tweak a few things.
Okay, speaking about that, I know you have 4 amazing boys, and you have an absolute stunning daughter.
Thank you.
What in your culture would you pass on to her regarding marriage? And what's one thing or some things that you want her to forget about from the culture?
One thing I will pass on to my daughter about marriage based on my culture is prayer. I don't know if this is culture, if it was just something I was raised with, but prayer. You know, you cannot control your husband. You cannot control anybody. You can't even control yourself, but you can put him in the hands of who can control him. So I would pass that to her on. As from the day she can speak, it would be prayer, 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 prayer. I'm not saying you shouldn't pray for yourself, but sometimes the energy you use in fighting him to change, you put that energy in prayer and let whoever can change him. He's a puppet in God's hand. Let God turn him left, right, center as he likes. So that would be one. What I would want her to forget in terms of culture is the fact that your husband is the breadwinner. Forget about it. God can bless anybody with anybody. It could be your child who becomes the NBA player tomorrow and God uses him to bless your home. It could be you. Again, like I said earlier on, strength matters.
Mm.
So if she has the strength, take advantage of it. Don't keep waiting on him and be like, the culture says the man is supposed to do this. If that strength comes from you, then you take that on. If he has his own strength, let him. And if you are okay with being the breadwinner and he works for you, as long as, again, he's not lazy. But that breadwinner thing, because a lot of women have had to give up their careers because they feel like my husband should take it on. My husband should be the breadwinner, not me. Go 100 to wherever it is that you can go and be the breadwinner if that's how God has ordained it to be.
Okay. Do you think your marriage would have been better if you were in Nigeria, or marriages for people in Nigeria better in America?
If I was in Nigeria, I think my marriage would be horrible. Horrible, miserable. I'll probably be one of those people on the internet that'll be crying every day, put a camera on myself and I'm literally crying. That would be me. Because in Nigeria, I feel like the culture is people hear you because they want to gossip, but deep down they mock you. Is look at the issues she's going through. That's one. Because again, the Nigerian culture expects you to be strong. So when you go complain, they will listen to your complaints, but deep down you'll become a mockery. Also, the Nigerian legal system, I wouldn't even call it a legal system because, as far as I'm concerned, there's no legal system there. Now, once in a while, I see things about how justice is being served for some people here, there, and okay. But I still feel like we have a long way to go when it comes to safety for women in marriages. Even for men, because I've seen some men that are just women that are just aggressive towards their husbands. So overall, in general, I feel like if my marriage was in Nigeria, I would be miserable. I can't speak for him.
Right.
Speaking for me, I feel like I would be miserable because you would even go to the elderly ones. They would tell you, do whatever your husband says. Listen to your husband. Culture said you should be this. I don't want to hear that. I want someone who understands, teaches me, guides me, not tells me to shut up and just go sit somewhere. For women in Nigeria as well, I feel like I'm beginning to hear that the divorce rate in Nigeria is going up.
Hmm.
My thing is, as much as you're in a hurry to be woke, as much as you're in a hurry to be, Americanized or whatever, not don't just borrow cultures that don't make sense.
Okay.
You have to be very wise. That's why I said Nigeria has two things that has taught us, and I feel like some people are just in a hurry to throw in the towel, both men and women. So, um, women in Nigeria, marriage might not be benefiting you right now, but also is also because we are trying to get this man to change, and it's not on us to get him to change. It's on God to change him. The system is not in your favor. Yes. He himself is probably not even trying. That is the truth. But at the end of the day, maybe focus on you, because Nigerian culture is probably not going to change for the next 10, 20 years. And unfortunately, is the truth. The only thing you can do is focus on yourself and your happiness. And maybe one day he will change. And if he doesn't change, that's his loss.
All right. So now that we are, of course, here in the United States, right? And for the American audience, the Canadian audience, the UK audience, as parents, right? What are we getting right and what are we getting wrong with our kids? You know, because a lot of things that we're talking about came from our parents' generation, our grandparents. But what about us? Like, what are we doing right now and what are we doing wrong?
What we're doing right is our kids have opportunities that we did not have. And not just opportunity because we're maybe in Canada or UK or in America. I've seen Nigerian parents that actually put in a lot of effort with their
Mhm.
kids. For example, you and my sister, I talk about you all in my home all the time because of the effort that I see you all put with getting your kids, the knowledge that they get, the activities that they are involved in, and the effort that you're putting in so much to get them to do these things. It's something that I'm always like, applaud you all. One of our parents back then, I'm tired, I can't do it. Or who has energy, who has time for this? But you are taking the time to do it. You're intentional about these experiences that you're giving to your kids. And it's wonderful that you're actually doing something like that. So that's something that I feel like the some Nigerian parents are beginning to do is realize that these experiences, nobody's saying that your child has to be a football player or a basketball player, but it's just these experiences that money cannot buy. These things that actually shape them into who they eventually grow up to be, health wise, health wellness wise, psychologically, emotionally, in just so many ways, the exposure that they get. So that's something that one thing I'll say Nigerian parents are doing well, and I would say you all are doing a great job at that. And then the second thing that I feel like we are not doing so good of is, and this I am one of those parents, is my kids only speak English. My kids only speak English. I wish they could speak another language, only because, again, like I said, I have 4 boys. I would like for if my kids were out in public, they would have a secret way they could communicate, and not everyone would hear what they are saying. Because again, that bond would also help them because they're actually building that bond as siblings. So a lot of being African or Nigerians, a lot of our kids abroad can't really speak the language. I wish we could do something about it. So that's
Okay.
about the two things.
All right. Well said. What language would they speak if it's your choice? Is it Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa? Because you grew up, I know, in northern Nigeria.
Yeah, I grew up in the north, but I still can't even speak Hausa. I understand a little bit, but I can't speak. To be honest with you, at this point, I really don't care. I just wish they would have a language that they would be able to communicate, like a Nigerian language. It could be Hausa, Igbo. It doesn't. I really doesn't really matter. I just want them to be able to be proud of where they are from and speak about this is who I am. This is what I am. Because you can tell someone I'm Nigerian, I'm Nigerian American, whatever my boys would like to call themselves. And then when the person says, "Okay, tell me something about your culture," you say something. Oh, say something, and you can't say a word. The person sees you like, well, what the same? As far as I'm concerned, you can't speak a language. I can speak the language. We're both lost. So I feel like the language that they would speak wouldn't matter
Hmm.
as long as they speak a language that represents their background, their ancestral background. That's what I would like.
Okay. Well said. I know, like I said, your sons are amazing. They're awesome. They're into a lot of awesome things as well. But how are you preparing them for their future brides and girlfriends? I know you got a boy that's about to go to college soon. So, we talk about strong men. I mean, what are you and your husband doing to make them, strong men?
First thing is prayer.
Hmm.
I have always prayed for my son's wives, my daughter's husband. Oh gosh, I would literally spend 10 minutes just praying about my in-laws because who they marry shapes their life. So I'm like, wherever she is right now, please God keep giving her wisdom, keep guiding her, and protecting her. So yeah, other than prayer as well, in terms of my son himself, I always talk to them about being men. I always emphasize the importance of leadership. I tell my child all the time, you're a man, and we like we say in Nigeria, being a man is not being so. Forget just I'm a man because I have a third leg. That is not what makes you a man. What makes you a man is the ability to lead, the ability to protect. Like I keep saying, we look at animals when we watch animal shows and we see how lions stand and guide and protect their families. And we like to use the word I'm a lion, I'm an odugo, and all of those things. But half the time I'm like, are you really doing all of that? Are you really protecting as you should be protecting? Yes, I know that the lions too can be lazy at times, but when it really comes down to really protecting and shielding, these lions get up because you work, I work.
Right.
So if it comes to provision or providing for ourselves, that's why I said breadwinner to me is okay. But is there other things that you should make your wife feel safe? That's what the lioness has. Lioness will feel safe with her and her cubs because the lion is guiding. He wouldn't let another lion just come in. So my thought to my sons is making your wife feel safe, automatically you've made your kids feel safe. Your home becomes safe. They go out with confidence. They represent you. Making them feel safe. It's not just maybe I'm protecting what say nobody should come and fight. That's not how it is. Protecting your home is also by not letting anybody talk down about your partner and your wife because these people are basically you. Not only that, to how they leave the home is a representation of you. So everything that you do is about your family and how your family presents themselves. So my advice to my son all the time is you are a man. I don't care if you're 5 years old, you're 12-year old. Eventually, you're going to grow into becoming a man. And I want you to remember that being a man is not just, and a lot of men think it's just because I'm a man because I'm being told I'm a man. No, you're a man because you act like one. And so I tell my kids all the time, your behavior matters. The way you communicate, the way you treat other people, the way you respect people, the way you uphold your wife, the way you uphold your in-laws, all of these things are the things that make you a man. So I'm teaching them gradually through the way they talk to people, the way they represent themselves in public, the things they engage in. So they just have to know. You have to protect her. You don't have a choice. I'm not following you to go and pay anybody's bride price if you're not going to protect the person.
Okay. Are there things that men should stop expecting from women?
A lot, a lot.
Okay.
Well, one thing that men should stop expecting is perfection. I feel like a lot of men expect their wives, partners to be perfect. Um, they expect her to in their head. They have this way at which they see women, and they literally expect it to a T. You're supposed to cook. You're supposed to clean. The kids are not supposed to be dirty. The house is supposed to be clean. You're supposed to do this to my in-laws. Like there's just all of these expectations that men have for women. But for some reason, we are not expected to have expectations for our men, except providing. Again, like I said, but I also work. So technically, you're not really providing for me. So what are my expectations of you? So what I would say men should really stop doing is just reduce your expectations. She's a mother. She's trying but she cannot do it without you. I don't know how people, I've heard women say, oh, I can raise my kid without their father. Yes, you can because there are widows that have to do it and all of that. So I'm not saying you cannot. But what I'm saying is we do it better when we have you all involved. So if a man can reduce his expectations of his wife and see that she's human, I'm human, and then support her because when his expectations are high, that means he's feeling like I can be lazy again. It goes back to my laziness because I have all of these expectations of her. But if I see her as I see my princess, my queen, then he would literally step up more.
Okay. So your queen. Do you think the queen of the house should cook for her husband every day?
You like food. You may like food. What's your favorite food anyway?
I like plantain. I like fufu. Yeah.
Man, plantain is
Yeah.
easy to make.
I'm a simple person.
It's good. Keep white, Sandra. Okay, that's serve food first is a no.
Okay.
Is a no because again, I still feel like leadership is all about how your family is presented.
Mm.
If I serve you first and I don't have enough to go around, then how have you led? Even if your wife were to was to dish food for you first, I would expect the man to maybe say, "Have the kids eaten?" That's what I would expect him. So if I do it out of respect, I would want you in return to have the kids eating. Give the kids first. So, but should we serve the man first? No, he's grown. He can go get food himself. So I will serve the kids first. Now, like I said, doesn't mean that occasionally I wouldn't serve him first. I would just expect that he shouldn't make it a norm, that he should be served first. In terms of cooking for my husband every day, not in America. Even if he was in Nigeria, no, because it's just not realistic. Again, let men bring their expectations down. It's not realistic, especially if you want the same woman to have a full-time job and also manage your kids. And men go back to, oh, my mother did it. And I can tell you multiple times, your mother did it because your mother had help. She had she had multiple helps, maybe nannies. Even back in the days, our mothers had help. They had help from women, other women. They had help from co-wives. They had help from younger ones that they were raising. So there was a lot of help. So they could possibly have done that. I don't know. But now I don't have any help with 5 kids. So it is not realistic. Now we can go eat out every day. If that's what he wants, yes.
Okay. Now, if you were a breadwinner, right? Or for those wives that are breadwinners, A, can they be respected in the house? And B, can they still give their husband respect?
I want to start with the husband part. Yes.
Mhm.
Um, your husband automatically has respect the minute you marry him. And that's one thing I keep telling men. Let me speak for my husband. I'm not gonna speak for other men. The minute I chose you, I automatically gave you 100% respect. And sometimes my mouth won't say it. My body would I might be angry, my body language won't say it, but technically I've given you that 100% because I chose you. Now, you people, you can choose me too, but I'm speaking for me. I chose you. That means I respected you. I still respect you. I took your last name. I respect you. I'm raising your children that I'm not taking my father's name. I'm taking your father's name. I am cautioning my kids every day about how they should respect you as a father. Why in heaven's name will I not respect you? Now, I know that there's a difference between doing all of that and men saying, but she talks to me anyhow. I keep telling men, if you want your marriage to work, stop putting all this mind on what your wife says because we are emotional beings. I wake up in the morning, I'm just emotional because my back hurts from ovulation. I wake up in the next day, I have a headache from my period. I'm emotional, I'm angry. It has nothing to do with how I respect you. Now, you can get mad at me because I should have probably communicated differently. But questioning respect, when I speak for me again, questioning respect is not even an option because the fact that I am still your wife in your house with your children, and I have not at any point told your kids, especially with 4 boys, to yell at you, doesn't mean that I do not respect you. So, in terms of whether I'm a breadwinner or not, doesn't change the fact that I will always respect my husband. Now, my mouth might tell something different. I might be maybe angry because the bills are too much for maybe just me. But in terms of respect, the respect would always be there.
Okay. So I know, like I said, you have an Odogu as a husband. You had an amazing father. You have amazing brothers. You have 4 boys. What is the most empowering thing that a man has told you?
That would be from my dad. Actually, was just thinking about it 2 days ago. My dad had this particular chair he would sit in. Um, and I used to dance every morning. I don't even, maybe I was doing it to lose it, I don't remember. And my dad would sit and watch me dance. And if I did a move he didn't like, he would say, don't do that move. It makes you look too skinny.
Mhm.
Or, or he would probably say, yes, that particular move, I like it. For a father to sit and watch his daughter, it wasn't like I was maybe in a ballerina class. No, I was just dancing. And he took the time to tell me things that looked right, you know. For some reason, I don't, to me, it means a lot because he just wanted me to be great. That's how I see it. He just wanted me to do good. And I remember one time I wrote a column in the Friends magazine and I had my dad read it. And my dad read it and he said, you just keep doing this. I think you'll be a very good writer. This is wonderful. It just, I feel like my dad had more faith in me that I even think he knew he had. Because now that I sit down when I think about it, like this man has no idea how he's one of the main people that helped build my confidence. Because again, like I said, with the dancing, it wasn't as if I was dancing to things like Sean Paul. It wasn't like I was dancing maybe to Christian musical. I was really dancing to like Sean Paul, godly music, Missy Elliott. And every morning he would sit down and be like, do this dance. Yeah, that dance is good. So that confidence, he built it in me. And then when I wrote in the magazine as well, he also encouraged. Now the man would still literally yell at me a million times a day. But those little things he did that built my confidence is what has still dragged me to today. Hey, Dad, I can't tell you if it was what particular word it was, but I would say he is the driving force behind my confidence.
Fantastic. All right. One final question. Now, to all the women that are out there, especially those women that have a similar background like you, what piece of advice can you give them trying to find their place, particularly in the diaspora world?
My advice to you is when we come to another country, the struggle that we always face is confidence. And that's because our African culture, for some reason, does not, like I said earlier on, does not encourage or help to boost the confidence of, we Africans. We are being told we only want to hear you, we only want to see you, we don't want to hear you. There's always a lot of yelling at us, screaming at us. Even the whoopings that we got did not help our confidence at all. So when we come into other countries, we don't have the confidence to speak up or even pursue our dreams because we feel like I can't do it. I'm not able to. We just don't have that confidence. So what I want to say to these women is you're strong. And when I say that you're strong, I'm not saying that you're strong in our parents' strong relationship aspect. I'm saying that you're strong in terms of whatever you put your mind to, you can do it, regardless of the country or the location that you're in. The most important thing is having that dream and having that vision. And if you have that dream and that vision, you can go for it and you can achieve it. Do not be held back because of the faults or the gaps in our culture and how our culture don't allow us to shine as we would have wanted to. So that would be for the women is if you're coming here, don't let anything hold you back. Push through. I've spoken to a lot of women who are like, I'm too shy to talk. I don't know if I can do it. I don't have confidence. No. Push through all of those things. And that's one of the reasons why I like to always form communities with women because I like to always feel like they need empowerment. They need to be encouraged that they can do stuff. It's okay to start small, but go ahead and do it. And this is every woman. Now, if a woman is young, like maybe younger, she's not married, my advice to her when she comes abroad is be very careful with the person you choose to settle with. Because a lot of men, maybe Nigerians like us, Africans like us that are coming to the US are also looking to prosper. They are looking to I'm trying to choose my words, but they are looking for an opportunity as well, just as you are. So be careful that you don't fall into the hands of an opportunist. Be careful who you marry, because who you marry kind of decides again how you're able to bring those visions and dreams to life. So be very mindful about the person that you choose to get married to.
All right. Well said. Cynthia Egozua, how can people follow you?
I have so many accounts, but I would say on Facebook, and hopefully at the bottom of this screen, you should be able to see my Facebook handle. I'll have you please put it there. Um, because on my Facebook page, I share a lot about just me personally and my different pursuits and what I'm trying to do. So I would say Facebook is the most common place to locate me because I handle it personally. My other pages are handled by maybe other people, but my Facebook, I'm personally handling it.
All right. Well, thank you so much
Thank you for
for,
me.
yeah, you've great insight, great advice. So if you're a young woman out there or a married woman and you find this helpful in your life, share it to other people. I'm Chigo Kiri. This is your Diaspora Dad. Have a great day.